Hey, how's it going, everybody? Jason Clark, EXP Realty here. Hey, welcome once again to Red State Relocate. Hey, today I'm coming to you from my office here in downtown Las Vegas. I was kind of working a little bit late here, but wanted to throw the camera on real quick. I know this is not my normal typical studio setup, but I'm here at my desk and just wanted to kind of talk about something called the Limbaugh Theorem. I don't know if you're familiar with it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it in relation to Kamala Harris. How Kamala Harris, for the first time today, finally herself in person actually gave some of her policy positions, and they were typical, I will say, Kamala Harris policy positions. You know, we know that ever since coming out of California, she's governed pretty far from the left. She's a very, very progressive Democrat. I mean, she was ranked as, I think, more progressive to the left of Bernie Sanders. They've scrubbed a lot of that from the internet. But I think it was ProPublica or somebody, I don't know, leave a comment who it was, that had rated her the most progressive Democrat. And she patted herself on the back for it. She was so proud of it until she now is top of the ticket. And now she's suddenly trying to moderate herself. And a lot of her, I'll say her surrogates, it's not even her, that's saying that all these things that she was for, she wasn't for. She's actually a moderate. Well, guess what? Today, she finally, in person, at a news conference, well, not even a news conference, more like a speech. She didn't take any questions, of course, but again, showed her true progressive ideology. And I don't want to really get too deep into the policy positions that she's taken. We'll get into that in some other videos. But what I want to do is really talk about how the Limbaugh Theorem, which we'll get into, applies here, and to watch out for this. This is the new strategy and the new playbook that Kamala Harris and the Democrats are going to implement for the next 3 months leading up to this election. All right. So what is the Limbaugh Theorem? All right. So if we think about going back to 2012, all right, Barack Obama was running for president or re-election. Okay. And we know Barack Obama's first term was not good. All right. In 2010, Barack Obama lost everything in terms of the House, the Senate. Right. I mean, it was the Tea Party sprung up. I mean, he was incredibly unpopular. And I mean, more Republicans were elected. This is a true fact. For all my lefty friends out there who just love Obama. Guess what? As a Republican, I love Obama too, because more Republicans were elected under Barack Obama's presidency than any president in the history of this country. I think it was over 1,000 Republicans in the 8 years of Obama's presidency. Over 1,000 Republicans gained political office. Now, here's why. Because of the Limbaugh Theorem. See, Rush Limbaugh, the great Maharishi, noticed in 2012 when Barack Obama was running for president that he was distancing himself from his own policies, okay, the policies that he recommended, that he put forth, and the terrible results of them. All right, for one, think Obamacare, the big one, okay? He passes Obamacare, and what happens, okay? Insurance premiums skyrocket. People are losing their health care. They're losing their doctors. Remember, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Guess what? Time Magazine Lie of the Year. All right. Remember ISIS, who he called the JV Squad? ISIS runs rampant. It explodes under his watch. We have Daniel Pearl, right? American journalists are having their heads chopped off. All right. Under Barack Obama's watch, right? The economy, after the 2008 housing crash, it would not come back. It was just kind of stuck in that kind of malaise, they call it, right? Kind of what we're going through now a little bit with Democrat rule as expected. All right, but what did Barack Obama do at that time? When Barack Obama was running in 2012, they talk about Obamacare, health insurance. He says, you know what? Man, you know, I'm just as mad about these insurance premium spikes. I'm just as mad about it as you are. You know what? Reelect me, and I'm gonna get to the bottom of it. I'm gonna fix it. Okay? ISIS, terrorism spreading all throughout the Middle East. He says, you know, you're right. man, I'm gonna get to the bottom of that. If you just reelect me, I'm gonna make sure that ISIS is eradicated and taken care of. And meanwhile, he gives Iran billions and billions of dollars, right? And the economy, he's, oh geez, Americans are hurting. Oh, I feel your pain almost, right? I feel your pain, America. And if you just put me back in office, I'm gonna figure out what the heck is going on. Well, what the heck was going on was Barack Obama's policies had led to those terrible, terrible outcomes that was hurting the American people. But he was able successfully to distance himself from it. And the media, of course, they loved him. They fell right in line to help him with it. So I have an actual definition of the Limbaugh theorem because Rush Limbaugh at the time said, hey, man, what's going on here? How is he getting away with this? And Limbaugh kind of come up with this theorem that, you know what, he's just able, with the media's help, to distance himself. So I want to kind of give the official, kind of better than I can explain it anyway, definition here of what the Limbaugh theorem is. But it says the Limbaugh theorem, as discussed in various contexts, and this is from Grok, by the way, Elon Musk's AI tool. I just said, what's the Limbaugh theorem? It says it refers to a political strategy or observation where a political figure, okay, Barack Obama in this case, manages to maintain public support or avoid blame for negative outcomes by always appearing to oppose the very things he's causing or responsible for. See, so the Limbaugh theorem, therefore, isn't just about one event or one policy, but it's a broader political strategy. Remember this. It's a broader political strategy of maintaining public perception to maintain power, where the leader appears to be at odds with the very problems his administration might be causing or failing to address effectively. Now, why do I say this? Why am I mentioning Barack Obama now? This is exactly what Kamala Harris is doing now. As of today, when I talked about how she's rolling out her first policy proposals, today, what did Kamala Harris do? She went up there. She actually made one of the best political ads for Donald Trump of all time, if you can even imagine it. She went up there after years now of telling us that inflation was under control, that the economy was great, there was nothing to worry about. Today, she says, the price of bread is up over 50%. The price of beef is up over 50%, okay? And then Donald Trump went bing, okay? Well, who's been in the White House for the last 4 years, right? Who's been side by side with the president helping propose these policies? Kamala Harris was the deciding vote. She was the deciding vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which caused major inflation, all right? And now, look, she is running the Obama playbook. She is saying, wow, inflation is really bad. If you just elect me, I'm going to get to the bottom of it. Wow, doesn't that sound familiar? Now, look, we know that Barack Obama has been pulling the strings here in our federal government for the last 4 years, ever since Joe Biden was elected. When you look at the policies, especially foreign policy, my God, this is textbook Barack Obama. All right, and so it's an open secret now. I think everybody knows that none of the policies that Joe Biden has advocated for here or helped pass in the last 4 years is actually his. Look, Joe Biden is actually a fairly moderate Democrat, all right, has always been. When you look at, his crime bill back in the 90s, right, the way he's governed himself throughout, he voted for the Iraq wars, all right, he's been a pretty moderate guy that always just kind of helped him maintain the perception of cool Joe until he became president. When he became president, he owed Barack Obama everything, and ever since then, Barack Obama's been pulling the strings. So no secret, again, that now with Kamala Harris at the top of the ticket, that Barack Obama is putting his full machine, including David Plouffe, right, Barack Obama's big advisor. He's now running Kamala Harris's campaign, and guess what? What is the first thing they do now that he literally just got hired, I think, a week ago? What is the first thing they do? They implement the Limbaugh theorem, okay, where now Kamala Harris she is just as confused as you are as to why things are so expensive And my gosh, if you will just elect her as the president, she's going to get to it, you know? So I find it interesting. I'm curious how the media is going to twist this, because like I said, when Joe Biden and Kamala for the last few years have been saying that inflation is down and things are good and things are better for the American people, to then suddenly do not even that, to say things are good, then for her to moderate herself from these leftist, hard left kind of progressive positions, to now then saying, no, she's maybe not so moderate. She's actually talking about price controls now, right? She's talking about they want to build 3 million houses in 4 years. Okay, how is the federal government going to build millions and millions of homes in 4 years? This is the same federal government, okay? This is the same Democratic leadership that built 8 charging stations in the last 3 years at the tune of how many billions of dollars did they spend? They spent billions of dollars. Part of the infrastructure project, they got 8 charging stations at the tune of billions and billions of dollars. Look, the government should not be in the business of building anything. All right. If you want something built, you go to the private sector for it. All right. But they want to build housing. What happens when government gets involved in housing? It becomes incredibly, incredibly expensive. But see, to her, there's this housing shortage. And well, if you just elect me, even though I've been in office for the last 4 years, if you just elect me, I'm going to get to the bottom of it, because I am just as upset about this as you are. So again, I want to make this video kind of quick. I didn't want to get too winded in it, but just keep in mind, watch this. Watch this as we move forward. Mark my words. We never doubt the Maharishi Rush is always right. And the Limbaugh theorem is in full effect right now. For the next 3 months, Kamala Harris is going to act like everything that's gone on the last 3 years is something that, man, she is just as upset as you are, and she is going to figure it out and get to the bottom of it. And the way she's going to get to the bottom of it is through Marxist, communist policies that have never worked throughout history. They have, price controls have only led to major inflation, major corruption, major price increase. It's never worked. It's led to bread lines and communist dictators, really. So, look, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Her father was a Marxist professor at Stanford. They've never had to hire a single person in the private sector ever. They've never had to actually apply their theories in reality, in real life. And so they don't work. It's not going to work. But just keep it in mind. Limbaugh theorem in effect for the next 3 months. Watch out, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So, hey, thanks a lot, everybody. I will see you in the next video. Take care now. Bye-bye.